Sid, you've lived in Madrid a long time now, and it doesn't really matter, it seems, the manager sometimes. Real Madrid, when it comes to comebacks, he was just asked there by our colleague Martin Einstein if it's overconfidence, and I put it to the panel, if it's just something that seems to be instilled in any player that comes to Real Madrid, that they know a comeback will always be on the cards.
Yeah, and of course part of it is about the way that we create, if you like, the storyline around it. So that there's this, because we talk about it, because it happens, it makes it happening again more likely. I'll tell you a line that I was told once by Michel, who was a member of that Quinta del Buitre team, and this is the team that kind of really started the idea of the comebacks in European football. There was a whole load of them in the UEFA Cup. And I remember him going for it and saying, listen, it's perfectly plausible that we look at the statistics and actually we don't come back any more than any other team. It's perfectly plausible that maybe we go for it, and there's been times when we've lost in the last minute too, and by the way, they have, and of course his team was beaten twice on the final day of the season against Tenerife. He said, but there's something about playing for Real Madrid, putting on that shirt that turns you into kind of a mini Incredible Hulk, and all of you somehow feel like somewhere along the line there's something inside you that means you can kind of emerge and suddenly kind of burst out, if you like, as this kind of unstoppable beast. And I think there's something in that. I mean, look, last year, even by Real Madrid standards, was absolutely ridiculous. The way they won the Champions League was just extraordinary. But one of the things that I think made it possible was the fact that somewhere along the line, everyone kind of believed it was possible. And personally, I think, and I'd love to know what the guys in the studio think of this from a professional player's point of view, that belief works both ways. It's not just about Real Madrid believing it's possible. It's about the other teams starting to get that sinking feeling, that sense of fatalism or inevitability as Real Madrid start to come back at them. And that, in turn, probably makes it more likely as well.
That psychological impact, can that happen when you're the opposing team?
Absolutely. As a player, sometimes you're worn down, late on, and you feel defeated. You feel we're not really creating the chances that we should or we need to get ourselves back in this game, and you feel defeated. To Sid's point, and sometimes you do get that goal, but even when you're on the field and you do get that goal, it just kind of happened. You know, it happened. There's also, when late on in games, when you are down, where there's a sense of desperation to your play. But with Real Madrid, and when you truly believe that you're never out of games, that the comeback is always on, there's never that sense of desperation. You know the goal is going to come. And so just psychologically, I think there's a difference in how you see it as a player, but then how the game takes shape as well, because you're not just kicking it long, and you're not just putting the tall guy in the box and crossing it and hoping for knockdowns.
Yeah. I tell you what can change the whole picture and the tendencies is coaching decisions, right? And if you are, in this case, Diego Simeone, who I was begging at the beginning of the game, hey, go and attack Real Madrid. And they did. Thank you, Diego, right? At halftime, I said, please, Diego, don't get defensive on me. For the first 15 minutes, they did not. Thank you, Diego. Now we get to the 65th minute, and he decides, when they have withstood that initial push that Sid was mentioning from Real Madrid, and it seemed like the game was under control, he said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get defensive, right? We're going to take Morata out. We're talking about the 65th minute, and now we're going to put Axel Witsel in. So you no longer have an outlet. You no longer have a player that can stretch the back line. You also then decided, I'm going to take Angel Correa out. And so you no longer have a threat down the right that was important because that was occupying whoever was playing the left-back position for Real Madrid, in this case Camavinga after the Mendy injury, which then freed up Nahuel Molina to then overlap down the right-hand side and be a threat in the attack. So you yourself, because of your own decisions, you've taken options to go on the attack. And in doing so, you force yourself to then get more defensive, get deeper and deeper. It allows Real Madrid to now start completing passes in the attacking half. Dani Ceballos gets involved, and then Rodrigo gets involved in between spaces, and that's where the goal comes from. Now, is it a moment of genius? Of course it's a moment of genius for Rodrigo. Is it an outstanding goal? Yes. Did it take an outstanding goal? But it's an opportunity that you gave, that you presented, just by coaching decisions, which, when we talk about the mentality and the feelings for a player, if you're being told, start sitting deeper and deeper, you start renouncing the attack and you start expecting Real Madrid to come this way. So in terms of feelings, Atletico Madrid, once Rodrigo scored the goal, what do you think their feelings were? It's like, oh, well, here we go again. We have seen this before. And that was exactly the feeling that they had going into extra time because, again, in coaching decisions, Simeone decides, we're just going to see this through to penalties. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I am watching the game and I'm seeing continue to attack Real Madrid because they're vulnerable. Even more so when you went a man down and actually you look more dangerous than Real Madrid did in the second half of extra time. So it took you going down to then going and trying to attack again. That is coaching decisions. That is a mentality that this team, they have to be able to free themselves up because otherwise we're going to continue to see the same picture over and over again. And I don't know why, if you've seen it as many times as you have, why you don't get sick of it and try to change it, do something different.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.